everyone. My name is Hector,
And my name is G.
and we're here to talk to you about the collected editions new releases for the month of October 2022. Now, for those of you who don't know, G and I work for Penguin Random House, and we sell into the direct market. So the collected editions that we're going to talk about here are the ones that we can sell into the direct market around the world from the publishers that we represent. So first, we're going to talk about some picks that we want to highlight, and then we're going to go by publisher on the titles that are on this list. So let's get started. So first up is one of my picks, and this is Dark Ages, the trade paperback. This is by Tom Taylor and Ivan Coelho. This is an amazing storyline. It's one of those what if stories. It's a miniseries that ran for 6 issues. And in this story, the world all of a sudden one day the lights go out and there's no electricity and nobody knows why. And obviously there's a lot of chaos and all the superheroes have to go into overdrive to try to control the situation with everybody all of a sudden not having any kind of electricity or power. And it kind of the story moves forward a few years and then you see how the survivors of this have settled in and are trying to survive, and it's interesting because you see all the different groups of heroes and villains kind of working, and you even see villains kind of working together with heroes, and at the same time kind of try to figure out how this happened, why this happened, and how can they uh you know turn back on the lights. So it's basically what the title implies. You take all the Marvel characters and put them right on the in the Dark Ages. It's beautiful. It's a very interesting story. It's very action packed, but at the same time, it has because it goes through almost every major character in the Marvel universe. So you see what they would do in this situation. And Tom Taylor is so good about doing this kind of thing, and he he's also has written some of the Elseworld stories for the DC side, so it's kind of that kind of thing. And Ivan Coelho, the art, it's amazing in this book, so I highly recommend picking this up. And
Next up,
next, yeah,
yes, this is DC Horror Presents. This is Soul Plumber, and this is co-written by Ben Kissel, Marcus Parks, and Henry Zabrowski. They're actually the team that does the podcast called The Last Podcast on the Left. So if you like true crime type of stories, this one is interesting because basically this main character, Edgar, who is very religious, decides to attend a seminar by a mysterious group called the Soul Plumbers, who we know are trying to con for money with a soul plumbing machine. So Edgar steals the blueprints and makes his own soul plumbing machine instead, and ends up pulling out an interdimensional alien who leaves behind carnage in its wake. So, like, a lot of blood, a lot of gruesomeness. Everything
mm,
that I heard about this is like it's like really weird and like far out and strange, and that's the type of stories that I like. I'm always intrigued by it, and so this is definitely one of my picks. This collects issues numbers 1 to 6. Great for the upcoming spooky season, so
yeah,
definitely pick this up.
yeah, yeah. I was and on that note, the next title,
Yes, speaking of
Yeah, so
spooky.
you could tell that we're in October.
Yeah.
Yes, so Refrigerator Full of Heads by Rio Yours and illustrated by Tom Fowler. And this is from DC, from the Hill House Comics. In fact, this is a sequel to Joe Hill's own Basket Full of Heads. that he published. I think it was 2 years ago. It was right at the beginning of this new imprint within DC, the Hill House Comics. So on the first one, on the original one, Basket Full of Heads, there's this. It takes place in this island called Brody Island, and the main character of that one, June Branch, she is trying to save her boyfriend who has been kidnapped by some criminals, and she finds this 8th century Viking axe, which if you look at the cover, you see on the on the left side of the refrigerator, you see the axe right there. And this axe has some magic powers, and you can so it gives you powers, but at the same time, if you you can cut a person's head from just one swipe, and the head is still conscious and capable of speech. So in the first one, as she's trying to save her boyfriend and kind of survive, you get the heads, and then the heads tell the stories. And in this sequel, which is Refrigerator Full of Heads, this is a couple called a Calvin and Aline that go on vacation to the island. That original one took place during a hurricane coming through the island in 1983, and this one is a year later in 1984. And this couple comes to the island. It's a year after everything that happened in the previous one. There's a new sheriff, a new characters show up, and this couple, right off the the bat, the first day, they get in trouble with a biker gang on the island, so they have to like defend themselves, and they find the axe. There's no At the beginning, you don't know what happened to you, June Branch, but they find the axe, and obviously, again, people start getting their heads cut off by the axe, and they start telling their stories, and that's where this book goes to. This has been hailed as one of the best comic books of last year, and rightfully so. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It's horror, but also there's a lot of very dark humor in it. So I definitely recommend picking this up and recommend it to other people. And this is part also the Black Label imprint of DC, so it's going to be adult oriented, just so you know. Next.
Next up, I had to include this. This is
Yeah.
Tales from Harrow County. This is the library edition by Cullen Bunn. Now, if you're a fan of the original Harrow County, you're definitely going to want to pick this up. This is set 10 years after the original series, and it centers around Bernice, who is now the protector of Harrow County. And this tale begins with like a ghostly choir that heralds the resurrection of the dead. And so she needs to find a solution before the town is overrun by this destructive force. And so if anything that Cullen Bunn comes out with, I'm like sure to pick up on.
Yeah.
But the original series it drew my attention because of the rural horror aspect to it that was like really interesting to read through, and like the painted look of the interior art is very beautiful. And so as expected, this is definitely something that fans of this series will want to pick up on with this like follow-up run, follow-up run to the original that you'll see here collected.
Excellent. And next, something a little bit different, not so much horror. This is Kings of Nowhere, Volume 1. This is written and illustrated by Soroush Barazesh. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing, but he's also known as Koteri Inc., and you can find him online and on Instagram as Koteri Inc. He's an illustrator, uh, lives in Canada, and this is his first, graphic novel. And as I'm researching this was self-published by the author and the illustrator, and he was selling it online in digital form. And now Darkhorse is collecting has 2 volumes so far in digital form, and this is the first volume that's going to be published in paper by through Darkhorse Comics, and we're going to have available in October. Now, aside from the illustrations, which all his art is amazing, I highly recommend you look up online everything by Coterie Inc. It's so beautiful. The story of this book is so amazing because it takes place in a world where there are certain people who are chimera and they can turn into animals if they go through in their childhood through a very traumatic experience. And the main character of the story, Billy, but it's Billi, he's the son of like a mob boss, and he's very quiet, very timid, and because of that, some of the the gangsters and the other kids around in the neighborhood, they kind of pick on him, but heavily. They do a lot of bullying, and at some point they beat him up so bad that he's so traumatized that he turns into a chimp. uh, and this when people in this world turn into another animal and an animal, they can't go back. But there's also a lot of prejudice against people who turn into animals. So after that, he has to live with this. So most of the story takes is about him dealing with this. Then he encounters these other 2 uh, guys who also turn into chimps. One, a baboon named Hamed, and then Satoichi, a blind monkey who's also a samurai, which you can see there with his blades in the back of the car. And they have to it's the story about them helping him deal and learn how to deal with changing into an animal and living in this world that has so much prejudice against them, but also how to get vengeance on everybody who has wronged him, Billy. And there's also a little bit of aspects of more magic. There's this special fruit that only Chimera can eat, but and it's very hard to find. When they eat it, they get even more powers and they get stronger. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of, I think Gigi would love this because it talks a lot about gangs and street gangs and that kind of thing. If you look at the interiors and the art, like I said, for this, it's also very urban. It's a made up world. The city is called sorry, I had the note somewhere in here, but Lo Divino, which in Spanish is the divine. But they made it look. I mean, you look at it, this cover, and it has sort of like a Southern California look, and the look in than the other images, interior images that you can find online. It's more. It's a little bit like California, but it also feels a little bit like South American cities like Sao Paulo or even Buenos Aires, something like that. So I truly love this. I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's something a little bit different from all the horror that we're gonna get through October. So
Mhm.
that's it for you guys. Kings of Nowhere, Volume 1.
My next pick is Invisible Kingdom Library Edition. When this first came out, oh, I should say this is written by G. Will Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of G. Will Wilson. You'll see in a moment why.
Yeah.
But basically, when this first came out in singles and then in trade paperback, I really wanted like something like this, an oversized edition, hardcover edition, because the art in this is so stunningly beautiful with
Mhm.
all of the colors. It's gorgeous. And the fact that we're gonna have this library edition is fantastic. It's a story about these 2 women that are seemingly opposites. So you have one who is like a religious acolyte, and then we have another who is a freight pilot, and series of circumstance happen where they come into contact with each other, and because they are sort of like they're part of their own organizations, one religious and the other a mega corporation, they uncover a conspiracy in those religion, in that religion and that corporation, and they're on the run from both sides, right? So this unlikely pair come together and they have to figure out where their loyalties lie as they're on their run, and they are like risking their lives because and mostly because like they're going into, there's like no refuge, right? These two big powerful organizations, and escaping from that and trying to make sense of it. So this is again Berger books. Karen Berger is very known in the industry, and the fact that this is coming out of Darkhorse, this is amazing. It's awesome.
Yes. And next, my pick, Cardboardia to This Side Up by Richard Fairgray and Lucy Campagnolo, illustrated by also Richard Fairgray. Um, this is and this is coming out both in hardcover and paperback. This is the sequel to the first Cardboardia. And the story of Cardboardia is, it takes place. This is a group of kids. They find these tokens in a box, in a cereal box, and the tokens with them, they can go into any cardboard box in the world, and it transports them into this other world, which is Cardboardia, and it's a magical land that is made of paper and cardboard, and there's a lot of creativity kind of thrives in this land, and every time anything it's anything it's put in a box in our world, it is transported, and that box shows up in Cardboardia, and everything in that box transports there. So that's how they get there. But they also, you start getting stuff from the other world into here, and there's an evil presence that is slowly threatening the existence of Cardboardia and the citizens of Cardboardia. So the kids have to, try to save that world. In the first one, that's the basics of it, and this is the second one. And spoiler alerts. One of the kids, Pokey, which is the younger brother of one of the other kids, of the main kids, Mac. It gets lost. So the other kids are trying to find Pokey, and in that process, they run into these three witch girls, and they're not sure if they're, friend or foe yet, but they are taken in, and they give them a lot of information on how to survive in Cardboardia, and how the boxes work, and how they can fight this this evil foe, an evil presence that is trying to destroy the world. There's also a whole lot of other. They find a lot of other characters, including some humans that show up, that also are living in Cardboardia. And obviously, they want to. The main goal is to sell Cardboardia, but also to get back home. So this is very creative. The art on this is so beautiful, as you can see a sample of it here on the cover. But it has tones of Stranger Things. It has tones of Last Kids on Earth. It's I think it's one of those that we see a lot today. One of those stories that is for kids, but I think us adults will find really, really interesting and fun. So highly recommend this one too.
And oh my goodness, who is
Oh,
that again? Is that Jewel Wilson? This is Air Volume 1, and also coming out of Darkhorse and Berger Books. No surprise here. I mean, this is definitely a reason why I have to put this in my picks. So this is a story following a protagonist who's a flight attendant, but who is like very, very, very scared of heights. Which, I mean, like, considering their profession. But I like that about the premise, right? Like someone who does a job and is deathly
somebody who
afraid
works
of
in a
it.
boat but can't swim, that kind
Can't
of thing.
swim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, this flight attendant falls in love with this mysterious traveler, and her job like is more than she really expected it to be, in the sense where she's like thrown into this strange journey through places that no longer exist. And she gets entangled in technological conspiracies, dark politics, secret organization. It's very weird. And the romantic interest, like maybe it's terrorist, may not be. It's just like this very strange tale, and I'm all about it. So again, and obviously with the G. Will Wilson on the writing here, this is definitely something that is like a pickup for me. So
Yes. That's great. And then next up, like I mentioned at the beginning, we're going to go now into the rest of the list of titles, collected editions that are coming out and graphic novels during the month of October. And we're going to go by publisher, starting with Marvel. And first of all, on the first slide, we're going to go through these four omnibuses. We have Aliens, the Original Year Omnibus, Volume 3. And you can see here we have hardcover the cover by Pacheco, but also a direct market only cover by Wrightson. And then on the right, you see Avengers versus X-Men Omnibus, also hardcover. And you have, Chung is one of the covers, the main cover, and then direct market cover also by Chung.
and then we continue on with Omnis, but centered around Black Panther, as you'll see here. So we have Black Panther by Ta-Nehisi Coates Omnibus, the main cover by Steel Freeze. And then we have the Michael Cho DM cover. In addition, we have Black Panther, the early years Omnibus. This is the Ribic main cover, and as well as the Buckler DM cover. We have Wakanda World of Black Panther Omnibus, the green cover, and then the Jimenez cover, which is the DM cover.
Yeah, and next up we have Conan the Barbarian, and we have the original Marvel Years Omnibus number 9 with a cover, by Jim Lee, and we have a DM cover by Higgins, and also we have Savage Sword of Conan, the original Marvel Years Omnibus Volume 8, and we have one version with Klein doing the cover, and then Sienkiewicz cover for the DM version.
So continuing on, we have Fantastic Four by John Byron Omnibus. This is Volume 1, and of course, this is the new printing. This is a Byron anniversary cover, main cover. Byron is also doing the DM cover, but this is the pinup version. Again, this is for the new printing. And then in addition, we have the Thing Omnibus, the Byron cover as well for the main cover here, and then the Wilson DM cover.
And we continue with Immortal Iron Fist and the Immortal Weapons Omnibus by Ed Brubaker. And we also have an Aja cover. And then we have, for the DM cover, we have Searcher as the artist. And then we have Invaders. We have the Omnibus by Roy Thomas. And we have a version with Robin's cover. And we also have 2 DM covers, one by Kane and then the other one by Jack Kirby.
All right, so on this next slide, we're covering Spider-Man. So we have Miles Morales, Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1, Andrew's cover. We have the DM cover by Pichelli. And then we have the Volume 2 Omnibus of Miles Morales, and this is the Pichelli main cover, as well as the Brown DM cover. Now, at the time of this recording, we don't have the final cover art for the Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 5, but this is the Kane DM cover. So that will be coming later on, the final art that will be revealed. We also have the Spectacular Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1 by Busema, the main cover, and then we have the Cockrum DM only cover.
And we continue. Bear with us. There's a lot of Marvel this month.
Yeah.
Miracleman Omnibus hardcover, obviously, and we have These is by Mick Anglo, and we have a Davis cover, and we also have a DM cover by Leach, and a DM cover by Nolan. And then we have New Warriors Classic Omnibus Volume 2. And then we have a Robertson cover, and we have a DM cover by Pace.
Continuing on, the Ultimates by Millar and Hitch Omnibus. This is the new printing. We have the Hitch cover, main cover, and then we have the DM only cover here, also by Hitch. And then Ultimate X-Men Omnibus Volume 1 by the Adam Kubert's team for that cover, for that main cover. And then Adam Kubert's Wolverine cover for the DM only cover that you'll see here. All of these by Mark Millar.
Great. And we continue with Wolverine. We have the Omnibus Volume 2 by Peter David, and we have a Jim Lee cover. This is a new printing of these two. And then we also have a Byrne cover, DM cover. And then we also have a DM cover by Winsor Smith. And next to that on the right, we have X Factor by Peter David, Omnibus Volume 2. And we have a Souk cover, and we have a DM cover by Raimondi.
All right, continuing, we have Extreme X-Men by Chris Claremont, Omnibus Volume 1, La Roca, the main cover, the first issue cover. The La Roca lineup cover, expanded lineup cover. This is the direct market cover. We also have Young Avengers by Heinberg and Chung. This is the Chung special main cover, and then Chung also did the Children's Crusade DM cover, as you'll see here.
Next, we are now moving to the Marvel Masterworks, and we have here Marvel Masterworks Ghost Rider Volume 4. We have two covers for that, and then we have Masterworks The Fantastic Four Volume 24, and we also have two different covers for that.
Also releasing in October for Marvel Masterworks, Incredible Hulk, the main, as well as the DM cover for those, as well as the Tomb of Dracula, both the main and the DM variant or cover, as you'll see here by Marv Wolfman.
Yes. And next is Mighty Marvel Masterworks, and we have the Black Panther Volume 1, The Claws of the Panther, graphic novel, trade paperback by Michael Cho. Does the cover, I should say. And also below, you can see the original cover. That's for the DM market only, direct market.
Next up, we're looking at additional hardcovers. So Avengers by Jason Aaron Volume 3 hardcover. Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky, To Heaven Through Hell Volume 3. This is such a great run leading up to Devil's Reign. Absolutely loved it. Excalibur by Tini Howard Volume 2 hardcover. We have Hellions by Zeb Wells. And then the very gorgeous Strange Academy First Class hardcover by Scotty Young.
Yeah, I love that cover.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Continue with Epic Collections, and we have Avengers Epic Collection, the Collection Obsession trade paperback. This is a new printing. This is by Bob Harras. And then we have the Deadpool Epic Collection Mission Improbable trade paperback by Larry Hamill. Fantastic Four Epic Collection, The Mystery of the Black Panther trade paperback by Stan Lee. Incredible Hulk Epic Collection, and now the Wolverine trade paperback by Peter David. And last on the slide is Incredible Hulk Epic Collection Follow the Pantheon trade paperback, a new printing. It's by Peter David.
Right. And then additional Epic Collections here. We have Power Man and Iron Fist Epic Collection Hardball by Christopher Priest. Star Wars Legends Epic Collection The New Republic Volume 6 trade paperback by Mike Richardson. Venom Epic Collection Carnage Unleashed by Mike Lackey trade paperback. And then Wolverine Epic Collection Back to Basics trade paperback. This is a new printing by Archie Goodwin.
And now we have some other trade paperbacks. We have Amazing Spider-Man by Wells and Romero Jr. Volume 1, World Without Love. Then we have Black Panther Legends by Tochi Onyobuchi. And then we have Bloodstone and the Legion of Monsters by Dennis Hopeless. And below we see Ghost Rider Volume 1, Unchained by Benjamin Percy. Uh, then we have Hulk versus Thor, The Banner of War by Donny Cates, and The Illuminati by Brian Michael Bendis.
And then in addition, we have more trade paperbacks here. Marvel Voices Heritage by Jeffrey Breguet. Marvel vs. Shuri graphic novel by Nnedi Okorafor. Miracleman by Gaiman and Buckingham. This is book 1, the Golden Age trade paperback. Following that, Moon Girl, Endangered Species trade paperback by Mohel Mashigo. Miss Marvel Generations graphic novel trade paperback by G. Willow Wilson. And again. And then, of course, she's doing a lot of work. And then Sabretooth, the Adversary trade paperback, Victor Lavelle.
And we continue with She-Hulk by Rainbow Rowell, Volume 1, Jen Again by Rainbow Rowell, like I mentioned. Star Wars Bounty Hunters, Volume 4, Crimson Reign, trade paperback by Ethan Sachs. Star Wars Darth Vader by Greg Pak, Volume 4, Crimson Reign. And we continue with Star Wars Dr. Aphra, Volume 4, Crimson Reign by Elisa Wong. Then we move on to The Marvels, Volume 2, The Undiscovered Country, trade paperback by Kurt Busiek. And then we have Tomb of Dracula, The Complete Collection, Volume 6 by Marv Wolfman. And below that, we have Trials of X, Volume 1, trade paperback by Leah Williams. And Excellent, New Blood, New World, trade paperback by Peter Milligan.
Right, and then next up, we're going to look at the IDW titles coming out in October. And on the first slide, we have to talk about TMNT. As a warning here, there is limited rights for these titles. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Hector and I, and we'll be able to answer any questions you have about sales rights with these. So we have the first two, obviously by Kevin Eastman here. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Compendium Volume 1. And then we have the Best of TMNT Collection Volume 2, also by Eastman. And then we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Reborn Volume 5, Mystic Sister by Sophie Campbell, Karen Gehring, and Pablo Tunica and Tony Grigori.
And we continue in IW with Farm Systems by Rich Kolowski. And in the middle, we see Sonic the Hedgehog Imposter Syndrome by Ian Fleming, Thomas Rothingsberger, Aaron Hammerstrom, and Mauro Fonseca. And Usagi Yojimbo Crossroads by Stan Sakai. I love this cover. I loved it when it came out and single issues, and I love it now too.
All right, and then we're now moving into DC titles. And first up, we have, of course, the Omnis. So we have American Vampire Omnibus by Scott Snyder. This is this year's edition. We have the Omnibus 2 for American Vampire as well from Scott Snyder. Doom Patrol by Rachel Pollack Omnibus. The new Teen Titans Omnibus Volume 1, this year's edition. And then, of course, we have the wonderful George Perez coming out with this Wonder Woman Omnibus, the 2022 edition, as you'll see here.
Yes, and we continue with Wonder Woman. First off, we have Trial of the Amazons by Becky Cloonan. And then we have Wonder Woman Evolution by Stephanie Nicole Phillips, and Wonder Girl Homecoming by Joelle Jones. I've been waiting for this collected edition for a while. And next up is The Absolute Multiversity by Grant Morrison. And on the far right, you see The Fellspire by Chronicles, Book 1 by Philip Kennedy Johnson.
All right, and then we have these two, which is good to pick up, especially the Batman Long Halloween Haunted Night Deluxe Edition for the spooky season, as you'll see here, by Jeff Loeb, illustrated by Tim Sale. We have Batman Hush 20th Anniversary, also by Jeff Loeb, illustrated this time by Jim Lee. This one's interesting because, these are coming out again in these new editions. But the 20th anniversary will, in this deluxe hardcover, will include sketches, character designs, altered art, annotations by the DC artist and publisher Jim Lee.
Excellent. And then we continue with hardcovers in DC, and we have Hardware Season 1 by Brandon Thomas. Next, we have Harley Quinn Volume 2, Keepsake by Stephanie Nicole Phillips. And then we have Justice League Incarnate by Joshua Williamson, and Teen Titans Academy Volume 2, Exit Wounds by various artists.
Right. And then we have these trade paperbacks, American Vampire, 1976, Scott Snyder, Aquaman, Green Arrow, Deep Target by Brandon Thomas. In anticipation for the upcoming movie that I'm extremely excited for, we have the Black Adam box set by Jeff Johns. And then we have another box set. This is the Fables 20th anniversary set. This is Fables by Bill Willingham. Then we have Green Lantern Alliance by Min Lei. I very much enjoy Min Lei's
this
writing.
one was,
Yeah.
We're fans.
And then we have the Joker Volume 1. This is a lot of fun too. I highly recommend reading this. This is James Tynion IV. So you'll see here.
And we move on to Darkhorse Comics, and starting off, we have we have BPRD Omnibus Volume 1. These are omnibus, but this time they're trade paperbacks. So like I said, first one, BPRD Omnibus Volume 1, obviously by Mike Mignola. Black Hammer Omnibus Volume 1 by Jeff Lemire. Stephanie McCrane's Space Boy Omnibus Volume 3, written and illustrated by Stephanie McCrane. And Stranger Things Omnibus Volume 1 by Jody Hauser. I think this is the first time we have an omnibus. Well, 2 omnibuses from Stranger Things, so this is awesome. And then the second one is Stranger Things After School Avengers Omnibus by Greg Pak and Danny Lohr. Like I said, this is the first time we have we get collected editions like this, big collected editions for the Stranger Things graphic novels from Dark Horse. So it's very exciting, especially on this year, which Stranger Things is so big.
I'm gonna make a comment here really quick. I love Black Hammer, and I have I think the library edition. Can't remember if it's library or deluxe. I'm pretty sure it's a library edition. So now I'm like torn. I have the library, but there's an omnibus that's gonna come out.
Just have to get it too.
Have to get it too. Figure it out.
You got new shelves behind you, so you can fill them up with Black Hammer.
Black Hammer, yeah. All right, and then next up, speaking of library editions, we have Blackwood Library Edition written by Evan Dorkin. The Orville Library Collection Volume 1 written by David A. Goodman. We have the Witcher Library Edition Volume 2. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this name. You know what? I'm just going to go for it. Bartosz Steiwar?
Good try.
I'm sorry. I tried.
I'm not even going to try. So
you're not going to try? Okay.
No.
Let us know. Feel free to put the phonetics in the comments.
Yes.
I will look it up later.
Yeah, I need to look it up.
And then we have Frank Miller's Sin City Volume 6, Booze, Broads, and Bullets Deluxe Edition. So you'll see here.
Next, we continue with Avatar, The High Ground, Volume 1, written by Sherry L. Smith. This is a hardcover. Actually, these are all hardcovers. Girlfriend in Paris, a bloodthirsty bedtime story, which I really want to read for some reason. I feel kind of ashamed by it, but also I want to read it. Written and illustrated by Panther brothers Arnold and Jacob Panther. And Organisms from an Asian Cosmos, written by S. Craig Zoller. And then we have Source of Hyperborea, story by Mike Mignola. Then we have The Art of Deathloop, and the game was created by Kent Studios and Bethesda Softworks.
All right, and then moving on, we have these trade paperbacks. We have 40 Seconds, written by Jeremy Hahn. We have the Avatar, The Last Airbender Team Avatar Treasury box set graphic novels, as you'll
That
see
looks
here.
amazing.
It looks so cool, and
Yes.
I love Faith Erin Hicks, so this is definitely on my radar. That's a lot of material for
a lot of
the
stuff
price.
in there. Yeah.
Considering. Yeah. And then
There's
we
also
have,
limited rights on this one. So again, like Jamie mentioned before, let us know if you have
let
any
us know.
questions about the rights.
We have Bird King Volume 1 by Daniel Friedman. Black Hammer, again, I have a love for Black Hammer. This is Volume 7, Reborn Part 3. This is Jeff Lemire. Critical Role, The Tales of Exandria, the Bright Queen, written by Darcy Van Polgust. And then we have Frank Miller's Sin City Volume 6. This is the Booze, Broads, and Bullets. This is the 4th edition.
Yes. And we continue with some trade paperbacks. Giants, Volume 2, Ghosts of Winter, written by Carlos Perez and Valderrama, and illustrated by Miguel Valderrama. Goldfish is the next one by Brian Michael Bendis. Iyanu, I'm such a big fan of Iyanu. Child of Wonder, this is Volume 2, written by the amazing Roy Okupe and illustrated by Godwin Akpan, letters by Spoof Animation. On the bottom row, you see Minecraft box set graphic novels written by Sve R. Monster, illustrated by Sarah Grayley. And then we also have Minecraft Winter With or Without You box set graphic novels, written and illustrated by Kirsten Gutznock. And the last one here is Virtually Yours, written by Jeremy Holt and illustrated by Elizabeth Beals, letter by Adam Wollett.
And with Iyanu, they had announced an animation for that that's going to be coming out in the future. So definitely check it out. The comics are great. The graphic novels are great.
Yes, they're amazing.
Yeah. All right, and then next up, we have some of these other publishers that we want you to definitely check out. And so up first, of course, we mustn't forget Lore Olympus, Volume 3 by Rachel Smith. We have both the hardcover and the trade paperback coming out on sale in October, as is everything going on in October. We have Katie, the Cat Sitter, More Cats, More Fun box set. This is books 1 and 2. Of course, it will go on my cat shelf that is always growing. We have Max Meow, book 4, Taco Time Machine, John Gallagher. And then the funny book, Bobo and Pup Pup. I love that. I like saying that. Also coming out in October.
And we continue with My Aunt is a Monster by Remina Yi. We love this graphic novel, and we did some comments on our picks videos that you can check out also on this YouTube channel that with this video. And then we also have Maven Artist, a graphic memoir by Liz Montague. And then from Archie, we have a very Archie Christmas by Archie Superstars and the Archie Encyclopedia. I'm really interested for the Archie Encyclopedia. I don't know if we've done this before. Archie Comics have done this before, but I'm really looking forward to going through the Archie Encyclopedia.
And then for additional titles, we have Santiago, written by Jay Hosler. And then Simon and Chester. I love the ghost.
Yes.
Super Sleepover. This is book 2 by Cale Atkinson. All Your Racial Problems Will Soon End by Charles Johnson. This is coming out of New York Review Comics. And then we have How to Win the War on Truth. This is Samuel Spittle. And this is coming out from Court.
And that's it. Thank you so much for sticking through the whole video. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that it's been very helpful. Like we mentioned before, there might be some rights restrictions in some of the titles. Definitely, we have world rights for DC and Marvel, but some of the other titles from other publishers might have some rights restrictions. So make sure to contact us if you have any questions. Feel free to leave us any notes. in the description of this video, and send us any emails with if you need any more information. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.